We are also rejoining the Human Rights Council because we know the status of democracy depends on our collective commitment to those values articulated in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The status of democracy also depends fundamentally on the empowerment of women, not only because the exclusion of women in decision-making is a marker of a flawed democracy, but because the participation of women strengthens democracy. The pandemic appears to be reversing the global gains we've made in the fight against HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis, malaria, malnutrition, and maternal and child mortality. That's why, on the first day of our administration, the United States re-engaged as a member state and leader in the World Health Organization. And we are revitalizing our partnership with UN Women to help empower women worldwide. Eleanor Roosevelt, who shaped the Universal Declaration on Human Rights, once said, "Without equality, there can be no democracy." In other words, the status of women is the status of democracy. For our part, the United States will work to improve both. We are committed to upholding the democratic values embedded in the Declaration, and we firmly believe that when we work together globally, we can achieve the vision within it.
My first year that I'd be allowed to vote, so if he stepped aside, that'd actually be really cool for me as well, to help get another Black woman into, the presidency.
I support Vice President Kamala Harris. She is very qualified for the job, and I look forward to voting for her in the 2024 election.
I really have no feelings about it, honestly. I'm not too interested in this election. And what I have seen, especially related to Biden, are memes basically on TikTok, because that's where I get all of my news at this point.
I think it would be great if Kamala did win and we had a Black woman in office. It's just like one thing that I'm scared of is that we saw Obama won in 2008, 2012, and then and then Donald Trump won after that. I feel like when you have someone Black in office, there seems to be retaliation afterwards.
Obviously, I support them both. I probably would be more excited if she was at the top of the ticket.
1596, 1598, 1600. Sweet. Excellent question. Yes, I am proud to be America's first straight female president. Helen?
Wasn't I wearing a hat?
Yes, you were. Now, in conclusion, my administration will focus on the 3 R's: reading, writing, and refilling the ocean. Thank you very much. As you know, we've inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump. How bad is it, Secretary Van Houten?
We're broke.
The country is broke? How can that be?
Well, remember when the last administration decided to invest in our nation's children? Big mistake.
The Balanced Breakfast program just created a generation of ultra-strong super criminals.
And midnight basketball taught them to function without sleep.
What about my pledge to build the world's largest bookmobile? Isn't there any money left for that?
No, and we borrowed from every country in the world.
Quick, Lisa, call off your...
Bart!
Ow! Watch the ponytail.
Let him up, please. What are you doing here?
I knew you'd need some help keeping it real, so I figured I could be, like, your co-president.
Co-president? Are you crazy?
Mom, Lisa won't share. Be nice to your brother, Lisa. Don't you think we should wait for Lisa? She is the president.
She knows what time dinner is.
Sorry I'm late. I've been racking my brain trying to think of something to cut from the budget.
I had to cheat. I was doing it for the bell curve.
And with 99% of the vote in, the next president is Lisa Simpson. Wait a minute. I'm being told she cheated on a paper in 2nd grade. She is disqualified.
The gender gap. No, not the one you're thinking about. Not the wage gender gap. That is a tired, boring conversation that has been beat to death. The horse has been beaten to death. They got a new horse. They beat that one to death. We're probably on our 5th horse at this point on the gender wage gap. I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about the gender gap when it comes to voting. because this has real, verifiable data on the differences between women and men, and quite interesting facts around it. So first, on average, 10 million more women vote in every single presidential election than men. 10 million women. That is a staggering number. And it goes beyond that. On average, in each presidential election, there is a gender gap into which men are more likely to vote and which women are more likely to vote. Since 1980, women have leaned more Democratic on their presidential candidate, and men have leaned slightly more Republican. And on average, that comes around to what's called an 8-point scale. There's an 8-point difference. I'll simplify it down, and it's an 8% difference. But prior to that, when women initially got the vote in August 1920, they actually leaned more Republican. So women seem to favor, for instance, the early Republican candidates of the 1940s and 50s. They more favorably voted for Eisenhower, Dewey, and it wasn't until 1980, during the Reagan-Carter election, that women suddenly shifted and in their majority voted for Carter. And this was a big change that political scientists noted at the time, and that change has continued. Why? There's all kinds of factors that political scientists continue to theorize. I won't go into it, other than here are the data sets. These are the things that we can verify that indeed these trends are occurring. What are the causal factors for them? Everybody and their mother has an opinion on it. But it's interesting because not only did it change in 1980, what it's showing is that because women register to vote at slightly a higher level than men, and once they're registered, women vote more than men, really the presidential election is a woman's game. 10 million women are voting each election more than men. That means they can decide basically every election if they wanted to. If there was a calculated move about how to organize themselves around the Electoral College, just the voting rates that women turn out in, it puts men to shame. Men are not voting. And this follows every demographic trend. 18 to 24-year-olds, more women vote. 24 to 35-year-olds, more women vote. 35 to 45-year-olds, more women vote. 45 to 55-year-olds, more women vote. The only age demographic where more men vote than women is the 65 to 75 and above age demographic. And once again, you could speculate on why this is the one age demographic where more men vote than women. Now, granted, this is also the demographic where the most amount of people vote. Above 60% of people age 65 and above vote, which is phenomenal. I think that the average is something like 20 to 30% of 18 to 24-year-olds vote. So not only does the average of people voting get higher as they get older, but as you get right towards that end, the oldest demographic, then it suddenly switches. Then slightly more men vote than women. And I don't know if this is some sort of domestic theories about this. It's futile to speculate. But that is the only age demographic where men vote more than women. All the rest, 65 and younger, women are turning out more than men. So what this means is that most elections are really a women's game.
These issues. Bill, we're going to win. Let me just tell you that. We're going to win. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but we will win.
You say that with such conviction.
I have no doubt, but I also have no doubt it's going to be a lot of work. And everyone's going to have to participate. This is a democracy.
She received them. She had chicken. She had a DJ drop that beat.
Sexy Red, son.
I'm at the VP house. They playing Sexy Red.
Ski.
For that, son, she should be impeached for that, son. The vice.
But this is another program being ran on the black community. They need the black woman vote. So why not use one of the biggest influences in the community, Sexy Red, to show their allegiance in the new presidency of Kamala Harris. Shalom, family. Shalom.